everybody. So today's blog entry is to my moms, and a special shout out to my single moms, because I know that it's not easy. And my disclaimer is that although I have 4 children, I'm definitely not a parenting guru. I do not know everything, all things child or teen or kid related. I definitely don't have all the answers. I do have a certain set of challenges and experiences that hopefully will help you. So here we go. Alrighty, so I met my ex-husband when I was 17. I think I mentioned that on another vlog, and we got pregnant at 18, had our first son at 19, had another son at 22, a daughter at 26, and another daughter at 30. I think we got married probably about 21, 22, somewhere in there. And anyway, the marriage was difficult. It was a lot of childish arguments back and forth. There was a lot of name calling. There was a lot of emotional brutality on both sides. I was the queen of the silent treatment. I think that I admitted to that in one of my previous vlogs. I definitely was not an effective communicator, and neither was he. And then there was infidelity. Not mine. There is sometimes a reason for the divorce. Anyway, so that relationship was definitely volatile, and so I found myself at 30 with these 4 babies and had no idea what I was going to do at a time where all of my girlfriends were in college and out partying. I was having babies and I was married, and wasn't really in a place where I could be self-sufficient and self-reliant, because I hadn't really learned how. So at 30 I found myself thrown in the middle of all of this, and basically like, girl, get yourself together, you got these babies and you don't have to do it. So it was a struggle. I had to I signed up for welfare, for Medicaid, because there was nothing else that I could really do. I lost my house, lost my car. I was putting my babies in cabs to get to school. I had to wait for the secretary to call me and let me know that they had gotten there. And then I would walk my daughter 3 blocks to the daycare and drop her off. And then I would take 3 buses to work. And I did that every single day. And that's not to, pat myself on the back. It's just saying that I'm not a stranger to struggle. And I know what it's like to try and figure out where the heck you are going to get any energy to do anything in order to raise these kids, especially if you're on your own. So to you, I encourage you. First of all, I salute you for digging in there and making a way and making sure that your kids eat, making sure that your kids get an education, making sure that your children have access to things that you probably had not had access to, and I get it. But I also know how exhausting and how draining that is, and if I could go back and talk to 20-something-year-old me or 30-something-year-old me, I would definitely tell myself a couple of things. Number one, I will make sure that I tell myself to invest in myself, and I know that there's not a lot of disposable finances where you can do that. And investment doesn't have to be something large. Investment can just be something as small as taking up a hobby, that you're passionate about, remembering what you're passionate about. I love to read. I love to write. And so some days when my kids will go to bed, I will just sit in the bed and read. I will reread books that I already read before. Just simply because I enjoy reading. Going to the library, books are free. Make sure you check out a book. Get the kids a book. They can sit quietly in the corner and read. Sometimes they can sit quietly in the corner and read. If they can't, grab a book. Make sure that you have something for yourself. But little things like that can go a long way to help restoring some balance. I also began journaling when I was 10. Now, I started journaling because I was just a weird kid. I was an only child and just had a whole lot of daddy issues and abandonment issues. I was overweight. I didn't feel like I fit in. I was very awkward and just... Child, I had a whole bunch of issues. Just Jesus, I had a whole bunch of issues. But anyway, I started journaling. And as you see, this is representative of some of the journals that I've had over the years. There are a couple that I'm missing that I'm on the hunt for. But for the most part, this represents 36 years of documenting my feelings. It is my own personal history book, if you will. And so sometimes it's good to go back and look and see how far you've come. Sometimes you know that you've made some gains, but you really don't know how far you've come. It's like losing weight. You really don't know how much you've lost until you put on your clothes and you know that they fit differently, or you get on the scale and you see that you've lost some weight. That's what journaling does. It also allows you to write down your goals and have an accountability check, so to speak. So, even if you write down your affirmations, I don't care if you do it on, New Year's Day, or if you do it on your birthday every year, or if you do do it on Groundhog Day. There are things that you should be deliberately documenting and holding yourself accountable to. By so-and-so, I want to do this. I want to do this by the year, whatever. And even if you have to make some changes to it, that's okay. But documenting it is what's really important and getting it out there. And it also serves as an extension of your feelings. Sometimes you just need to purge. You need to put that somewhere. It's not that you're crazy or you're going through a whole bunch of stuff that other people don't understand. It's just that you might not be able to share that with everybody. And so you just want to document and get it out the way and just have it somewhere where it's not so prevalent on your mental. Then the second thing I think that I would tell my younger self is don't isolate yourself. You know, a lot of times I would be in the house, again, like I mentioned before, when I was having kids, you know, all my girlfriends were in college, living it up, and they were at parties, and they were doing this, that, and the third. And I was at home having kids. My decision, my choice. However, my life was very different, and I had to understand that. So, you know, I would be in the house by myself with, you know, with the babies, and yeah, along with my thoughts and going crazy. So, isolating yourself is not always a good thing. There is a website called meetup.com. If you're not familiar with it, I'll leave it below. But there are several groups that you can go on that have all very kind of interests. And there are groups that are started by local moms in your area to get together to meet with the children. And I think that serves a dual purpose. Number one, it gives those babies some opportunities to play with kids their own age instead of thinking that you are their own personal entertainment system. But it also allows you to have some adult time, some face time with other moms who may be going through some similar situations and circumstances that you are, to get some resources, some comfort, some motivation, or even just to vent. I think that it's important to just be able to purge and say, you know, different things that are going on. It's not a complaint. It's just get it out and get it out in the open and release all of that stuff. So, you know, if you're not familiar with Meetup, please go on there and see if you can find a group. If that's not your thing, I encourage you to explore groups through your church. YMCA, local schools, libraries have groups. Just find an outlet where you and the babies can both be energized and re-energized, so to speak. The next thing that I think that I would encourage my younger self to do, and so therefore I encourage you to do, is don't be afraid to explore your own passion. I think that a lot of times moms, we put our lives on hold because it's all about the kids. It's all about what they need. It's all about doing for them. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. Matter of fact, I don't want any hate mail from people telling me that that's wrong, because I know that I did it. But in doing that, you lose so much of yourself, and you forget what your passions and your hobbies are, what your interests are. You forget what makes you tick. If somebody asked me when I was 30, you know, what does Felisa like to do? I have no idea, because Felisa is a mom. So it's all about, you know, what Felisa's kids like. You know, I know what they like to do. I know what they want. I know how they like certain things. But me, I lost that connectivity with myself. And so it's important that you maintain that connectivity. That, again, is one of the reasons why journaling is so therapeutic. It makes you have connectivity with your own inner workings. If you're honest. I mean, there's no reason to journal if you're just gonna not be honest. But if you're honest, it forces you to maintain a certain connectivity with who you are and express disappointment and hurt, but also express hopes and dreams and desires. But knowing who you are is so important. Part of your purpose, or your purpose, excuse me, is tied to your passion. Part of your passion is definitely tied to your purpose. So anything that you love to do, that's what you really need to look at, because that's part of the reason why you're here. That's one of the reasons why you're on planet Earth. It's tied to that thing. So you need to do some self-exploration with that. And you also need to make sure that you develop that, simply because your kids won't be little always. It's cute and everything now, but trust me, when old people tell you, you know, girl, you better enjoy this time because they're going to be grown. That's absolutely true. I swear, it looks like I blinked and my baby just turned 27. I blinked and my little baby just turned 16. And you know, she's a junior. So, you know, my time with her is very, very short. And so I'm putting everything in, trying to cram it in, because she's going to be like, see you later, Mom, in a couple of years. And I need to be ready for that, as much for her as for me, because what I don't want any of my children to do is to feel artificially tied or obligated to me, where they feel like, you know, Mom is just going to collapse into a heap and have one leg over a banister somewhere because they're gone. The best gift that I can give to my children is the gift of flight. Kick them out the nest and let them fly. Let them stay on their own 2 feet. Let them discover the world on their own terms and be what they were born to be, because I had my turn. So part of being able to release that in a comprehensive and wholesome way is self-development and self-awareness. And then the next thing that I wanted to throw out there is, a lot of times, because it's so overwhelming, especially when you have kids that are little and underfoot, it's so easy to sit in the dark and, have dark days and be depressed. And I want to say this. I think that having dark days and feeling overwhelmed and stressed and just having it up to here with your kids and your spouse, and if you don't have no spouse, just with the world and expectations and being the super mom and you don't have no S on your chest and why is everybody expecting you to do this, it's overwhelming, and you can be filled with anxiety and a lot of depression. And I think that it's perfectly natural to feel like, okay, this is just too much, and to have days where you're down. But if it's in a prolonged state, if it's gone on for a period of time, that you feel disconnected, you feel disjointed, you feel fragmented, you don't feel like a whole person, you haven't, you don't take any value or any pleasure in everyday life anymore, please, please, please talk to someone. Please call your pastor, call a friend that you trust, call a mental health professional, whatever it is that you need to do, talk about it. There is no shame in feeling the way that you feel, and there's no reason in the world that you need to isolate yourself and sit in that dark place by yourself. Please don't do that. Please don't tuck yourself away. It's not healthy for you. It's dangerous for you emotionally, physically, and spiritually for you to do that. One tip I do want to throw out there is when my children were little, and imagine having 4 of them all pulling at you at the same time and wanting your time, I developed the kitchen timer method. So I just went to the dollar store, got a kitchen timer, and I would set it for specific intervals. So for instance, when we got home when I got them home from school and they all wanted to mom, I would put the kitchen timer up high so they can't play with it, but get the kitchen timer, and I would say, when this goes off, my oldest, Richard, can come find me. Richard, when you come find me, I'll talk to you all about your day. And I would give them each their own time. And they knew that when that kitchen timer went off, then it was their time. And it was important for them to understand that. Number one, it gave me a break. It gave me a time where I could come in the house, take off my clothes, put my robe on, get comfortable before I had to shift gears and now become, super mom. All of that barrage of whatever, you need to be able to decompress. So whatever system it is that you work out for yourself or for your children, but if you train them and get them into a habit of giving you that space and time, it will make it so much better for you. Now, obviously, toddlers don't care, but as they get older, you need to train them to give you that space and that time. It's a value to you and it's a value to them, because the last thing that you want to do is just like, "Wah!" because that's what's coming next when they just won't be quiet and leave you alone and you trying to get yourself together. So, just do yourself and them a favor. Get yourself a kitchen timer, an egg timer, set the microwave, whatever it is that you have to do, but make sure that you take some time for yourself to decompress before you face whatever it is that they are bringing to you. And then the last thing that I want to just a note of caution, and it's not an indictment, because I put a Facebook status up, and I think that some moms took offense to it, and it's not an indictment. Just please, moms, I know that it gets lonely, my single moms, I know that it gets lonely, and I know that it gets very tempting for you to, bring someone in the house and who loves you and wants to be a part of your life and wants to be a part of your child's life. And I get all of that, because one of these days I fully intend to be married, and if my children are still in the home, he gonna have to love them. That's a requirement of our relationship, otherwise we just can't be together. However, I have daughters, and because I have daughters, I have to be very careful about who I bring around my children, who I bring around them, because not all guys have the greatest of intentions. So ladies, please just be careful when you're making choices about who you want to have around your children. And even if they're the greatest guy ever, if that relationship does not work out, you have to know that just like he broke your heart, and just like, you miss him, they will too. And it's often difficult for them to process that, and they may not be as resilient as we like to think that they are. So just a note of caution with that. Otherwise, I want to encourage you guys to continue to press on and continue to persevere. I know that it's not always easy, but it's definitely worth it. When I look at my children sometimes, I shake my head and I just remember where we came from, and all of the things that we've gone through together as a family. And I'm so thankful for those rascals. I really am. Hands down, being a mother is the greatest thing that I have ever done, the greatest thing that I will ever do. And there's nothing on earth that will compare to that. However, it's important that I live up to my purpose and my destiny aside from being a mother, and that means investing in myself, discovering my passion and my purpose, my interests and my hobbies, developing me as a whole person so that I have a meaningful and comprehensive life, and I want you guys to do that too. I'm Simply Felisa. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Leave your comments below if you have any. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Share this video if you liked it, and you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Simply Felisa. I'll catch y'all later. Bye.